Dark bleatings, everyone. It's time for my FantasyCon book haul. Now, if you saw last year's video with my FCon book haul and you thought that was a large number of books, then you may want to brace yourself for this one because it just got a little bit out of hand. But anyway, I've decided that this is the book haul onesie from now on, so if you see me wearing this in any thumbnail, then you know there's been a haul in. So let's just get right down to it. So a lot of these I bought, and many of them I was gifted or I was given them as review copies. So we're going to go through. I've got a good mix here. I've got anthologies, I've got novels, I've got short story collections. I also, I haven't included every single book I got at the con. This is most of them, but some I did pick up and they were like physical copies of books I've talked about before, the ebooks. So for the sake of just not keeping you here all day with this video, I've decided to just show you new ones. So anyway, so most of these are horror because that's my taste, but it was FantasyCon, which fantasy, horror and science fiction, but mostly fantasy and horror. So I do have a few like fantasy-esque things also. The first thing I got, which was a included free in the little goodie bag they give you, is Januaries by Olivia Blake, and this is stories of love, magic and betrayal. I've never had the pleasure of reading Olivia Blake before, but I really love this cover. The more you look, the more there is to see, if that makes sense. So I am excited. It's probably not something I would normally pick up, but I'm really glad it was included so that I can give it a whirl. Next, Carl Bailey's brand new book, Trinity of Souls, which I got at his book launch, and he was really, really kind because the card reader wasn't working and he went on an honour system. So he just gave me this and signed it and everything, had a nice little picture with him, and then just trusted me to pay him back later, which I did. This is book 1 of Trinity of Souls, so I'm assuming this is the start of a series, so it's quite beefy for a novel. It's not immediately on my TBR, if I'm being honest, but you'll see why. I do have a lot. I do also have ebook review requests through the website as well, so I do have an order that I've written them all down in. So if you're waiting on a review from me, by the way, don't be scared by this book haul because I haven't forgotten. I'm not going to just suddenly read almost 40 books. Next up, Terry Grimwood's Wolf World, which is a novella from Domain Publishing. I really love these books. They always set them out like this. They're a nice little set to collect on your shelf. Terry Grimwood is a really nice person. I don't know if I've spoken to him before this FantasyCon, but I did properly meet him at this FantasyCon. We were on a panel together. It was sort of a fantasy versus horror kind of thing, so we were paid to defend horror, and we did win. Next, I had Uneasy Beginnings by Simon Kurt Unsworth and Benjamin Kurt Unsworth. I've already read this, as you can see here are my review post-its slotted in. So this is number 21 in the Black Shuck Shadow series, and I really enjoyed it, but there will be a review forthcoming. So it's short stories. Simon and Ben are father and son. Simon, you may well have heard of. He's been going for a little while now. Ben is quite new when it comes to published works, but I really enjoyed them. It didn't say in the collection who wrote which story, so it was kind of fun to guess. Also met Ben for the first time at this convention and I just love him. I love him. Next up, a book I'm definitely going to mispronounce, and it's Roth-Steyr by Simon Bestwick. I really like Simon. I got to meet him properly for the first time as well, but we've been, you know, online friends for quite a while now, a good few years I would say. So this sounds really different from something I would normally pick up as well, but I do like Simon's writing, so I'm really looking forward to reading it. And it's a nice little short read, which is always a relief when I have an enormous TBR. This is from Black Shuck books as well. So it says, I just gotta quickly cherry pick a little bit from the back. What started out as an audible short piece became a much longer and darker tale about how easily a familiar world can fall apart. And it also says that it's also about his obsession with history. So I'm really looking forward to reading that. Sounds very out of sort of like the box for me. Next, I've got 2 books by Tom Johnstone. So Let Your Hinged Jaw Do the Talking is a short story collection. And I do actually have a copy of this, which I got at last year's FantasyCon, funnily enough. But this is an extended version. And you know what that means? Now that I have my fancy new copy to read, I will be giving the other copy away in a giveaway. I'm really looking forward to getting stuck into this. And from Tom as well, I also have How I Learned the Truth About Krampus, which is, you know, I know we're in spooky season right now, but as soon as spooky season ends, we're going into Christmas season as far as I'm concerned. So I'm really looking forward to reading that one. Nice little nice little short fella. Next, I was also at Simon Clarke's book launch, which he shared with Carl Bayley. So I did, of course, pick up his new book, The Protos Experiment, which I'm assuming is some sort of sci-fi horror. Ooh, if identity could be replaced with memory implants. Interesting. Okay. So I'm really looking forward to getting to this because, once again, I love these conventions because I get to meet my heroes as well as my friends and, you know, just writers and authors alike. And obviously, who doesn't love Simon Clarke? So I'm really excited. And then I did also get Blood Crazy Book 1, 2 and 3. I know I've read the first one, but it was quite some time back now. So I'm really looking forward to getting stuck in because I don't often get to read book series. It's a lot less common in the horror genre than it is in, say, the fantasy genre or something. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading these. Alrighty, from PS Publishing, and once again they cleared me out because the covers are so beautiful and they always publish authors I love, and that's where most of my money goes when I go to these things. But it is Into the Wild Green Yonder by Tim Lebbon and Peter Crowther, which shifty Tim, because I normally know what's coming out from Tim and he didn't tell me about this one. But oh, just look at the cover. I know that there's a bit of shine from my phone there, very sorry, but these covers are always so beautiful and I know that I'm going to love it. It's Tim Lebbon, and I have read Peter Crowther before. I just can't remember. I think it must have been shorts in anthologies or something, but I know Peter's writing also. I just can't remember the story titles right now. I'm awful for that, but I'm really excited, and this is quite far near the top of my TBR. Okay, next, from Shane D. Keene and Stephanie Ellis, Mason Gorey, A Haunting Catskill Elegy. So this looks really interesting. It says, I'm just reading the bottom paragraph, not the entire back. Told in verse and prose poetry, Mason Gorey, A Haunting Catskill Elegy is an epic serial killer yarn, a tragedy, an exercise in monstrosity and brutality that culminates in an achingly human story. That sounds really great. I do love Stephanie Ellis's writing as well, so I'm really excited. Okay, so the Ramsey Campbell stack. Dang. PS Publishing again, honestly. Okay, so I got Fear Across the Mersey, which is Ramsey's newest book. So I think that this is a... Oh my goodness, look at the back. So this is a short story collection, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it's a short story collection. I really love Ramsey's short stories. I think that he's a wonderful novelist, but I think if I had to choose between Ramsey's novels and shorts, I'd have to go with the shorts because and that's nothing against the novels, it's just that I really feel like he's one of the best in the world in horror short stories. They always scare me. He's really great at building an atmosphere really quickly, and the cover art is scary, so I can't wait. I'm so excited to read this one. And then, you know, as I was browsing the PS Publishing table, I bought that from Ramsey at his book launch, but then I also picked up probably 40 years of essays from Ramsey Campbell, revised and expanded, with an introduction by Douglas E. Winter. So there's that one. I really enjoy a good piece of non-fiction, and I reviewed Ramsey's Six Stooges and Counting in the last year or so, and I really enjoyed it, even though I didn't know anything about the Three Stooges. So he's really great at telling you about something real worldy and making you interested even when you had no knowledge base or anything before. And I have no idea what these essays are about, but I just know, because I know Ramsey's work and writing, that I'm going to enjoy that. So I'm really excited to have a non-fiction addition to this haul. And then I got The Village, Killings and Other Novellas, because, you know, why not? And I actually don't think I've read a novella from Ramsey. I've read so many short stories and novels, but no novellas, which is, what kind of fan am I? So yeah, I just, you know, couldn't resist the opportunity to grab a collection of them. Ooh. What's that? Oh no. Oh dear. Still recovering from the vid, and talking this much is really hard. Okay, so also at Carl Bayley and Simon Clarke's book launch, I bought these two books from Roger Keene, Literary Stalker and Triskaidekaphobia. This that I can't pronounce. So I haven't read Roger Keene before, but I got speaking to him at the convention, and he was so lovely, and I really just couldn't resist. The whole book launch was really interesting, the three of them, and I just thought, oh, I literally bought everything at the book launch, which is, I do try to avoid going to book launches, because what tends to happen is I buy everything at the book launch. So you could have like 5 authors and I will pick up everything that they're promoting. So but what I'm really excited about is that Roger writes more sort of like noir crime, if I'm not mistaken, and I don't read a lot of that at all. In fact, it's a genre that I typically kind of avoid. It's just not like in my wheelhouse of interest at all. However, I read a really cool little crime horror noir kind of story from Jan Edwards earlier this year or last year, and it really changed my mind, because I really enjoyed it so much. And then I also read some Bear Vincent, the Ogilvy Affair, and I really enjoyed that as well. So I thought maybe I'd like branch out a little bit more and give these books by Roger a shot. So I'm really looking forward to, this one is short stories, and I think that this one is a novel, so I'm really looking forward to getting stuck into those. I don't know where to... Now, here we have Behind a Broken Smile from Penny Jones. Now, you may have heard me describe Penny as a straight-up savage with her writing. She writes really, really great short stories that sort of lull you into a false sense of security, and then she just hammers you, and she's so good. And yeah, I just love Penny. I think she's a great person and a great writer, and I wanted this for ages, and thank you, Penny, for bringing this for me. So yeah, this is also quite near the top of my TBR, and I'm really, really looking forward to reading it, because I loved Suffer Little Children, which was her Shadows book in the Black Shuck Shadow series. Just so good. This one from Paul Finch is one of the ones I'm most excited about reading, and it's All the Devils Are Here. Again, this was at a PS Publishing launch where I bought everything, and I can't actually remember precisely what he described the plot was about, but it was something right up my street. I think it's something Satan-y, so I got really, really excited, because even though you'd think that there'd be abundance of Satan-y kind of stuff in horror, the very particular kind of flair that I enjoy, I hardly ever see. And so when Paul was describing this, I got really excited, because it sounded like it ticks every box for me. So this is also very close to the top of my TBR. I'll let you know, I'll do dedicated book reviews. Okay, next, I'm going to pronounce it wrong. Les Vacances. Les Vacances what? In any case, it's by Phil Sloman. And it's like a short story / like novella, I think, yes. I don't know what it's about. Oh, monasteries rising and falling, heretics and stakes and fire. They were... okay. Oh, yes, colour me intrigued. So, Phil Sloman is a really, really great author, and he's also a wonderful person. And he's someone that I just really, really look forward to seeing at conventions every time. He's just such a pleasant person to be around. And that's always so surprising when you start reading the horrors that he comes out with. And I'm a really, really huge fan of No Happily Ever After, which is his short story collection that was a British Fantasy Award finalist. I really had my fingers crossed for him, hoping he'd win that, but it's always amazing to be a finalist and nominated for an award like that, and it really deserves it. So I really rate Phil's writing, and I can't wait to, like, once again, quite close to the top of my TBR. It's only short, it's only little. I feel like I could sneak that in a little earlier, I think. The Willow by Your Side by Peter Haynes. This one seems like kind of like a childhood trauma or like family trauma kind of story mixed with some supernatural stuff from what I gather from the back. So I'm real excited. And also I love this cover because it looks simple when you just sort of like glance over it, but the more you look, the more there is to see, and it's super creepy. Hail the New Age by Mike Chin, which I think that this might be a bit more fantasy than horror, or maybe it's a mix of both, I'm not sure. But it says it's an exciting new spies and sorcery novel from the creator of Domain Paladin. So I'm really excited. I see the word wizard here, I see coast to coast, I see heralding an era of technology. So I just think that this might be kind of a lot of genres rolled into one, which I really enjoy good genre blend. So I'm really excited. And also, I know you can't, judge a book by its cover, but I do, and I really like this one too. I told you that I got a bit carried away, okay? Next, The Corpse Road by Sean Hogan, which I bought at the book launch. Well, what a shock. And now, I've read Sean Hogan before. I rate Sean Hogan. I've got absolutely no idea what this is about, although he absolutely did tell us in the book launch, and I just don't remember because I attended a lot of book launches. But I can tell you that, whatever it's about, he sold it to me in the book launch. I was really interested, and I'm really excited. This is a beautifully presented book, and he signed it. Basically every single book you've seen here as well is signed by the author. I was running around for the whole convention running after people going, sign my book. He did say beware the road, so I will heed your warning, Sean, and just beware all roads, because I don't know which one you mean in particular. This is a short story collection from Richard Clive called Wish Upon a Dark Star. Now, I have reviewed Richard's debut short story collection, Strange Frequencies, which I just thought was a masterpiece, especially for a debut collection. It just had no business being that good, and I really, really enjoyed it, and I was really impressed with Richard's writing, and not just his writing, but his story crafting. That collection blew me away, because the stories are all sort of standalones, but he was very good at sort of connecting threads and things like that. And yeah, I really loved it. So I was really, really excited to learn that he's got a new one. And yes, I got to see him at the convention as well, and I really like Richard. He's such a nice person, and he's relatively new to the indie scene, and I hope he sticks around with us for a long time, because his work's really good. So I have no doubt that I'm going to love this, and this is also quite far up my TBR. Oh god, I'm so tired. Laura Morrow's Naming the Bones. So I'm super excited because I've said this about everyone, haven't I? I love Laura. She's great. I got to finally speak to her in person a bit more at this convention. I think I have actually met her in person before, but I just have so many really lovely writer and reader friends, via Facebook and Instagram, and sometimes I'm anthology buddies with someone. I'll have a story in the same book as someone else, and I've met a lot of my writer friends that way. And what tends to happen at these conventions is, even though there's usually the same group of people, and then there's always new people joining, but sometimes I think I've met people and I haven't, and then when I actually talk to them, I'm like, wait a minute. But Laura is such an interesting person. She's a really good writer, and I don't know, I'm gonna have to get her for a Happy Go interview, because there's 1,000 things I could talk to Laura about. But yeah, I look up to her. She's a really intelligent person, and yes, great story weaver. Okay, so this was so much fun. This is Kit Power's brand new novella, Millionaire's Day, from French Press Publishing. Now, if you've been online in the bookish spaces at all over the last month, you might have seen some hashtags, Millionaire's Day, the truth is coming out, things like that. So Millionaire's Day is a fictionalized account of that day in the UK from 2019. That we all know about, but no one talks about, because for some reason it feels like we shouldn't, because it's only now in the last month or so that stuff online is finally coming out about it. But yeah, so for legal purposes, Kit had to write about it in a fictional sort of sense, but this is about Millionaire's Day from 2019. So yeah, still a bit bitter about that, because I didn't get a case. But yeah, it was really fun to be part of the book launch, although everyone was a little bit nervous about it, because we didn't know if it was going to get shut down or not, or whatever. But the book actually came out. It's out now. It's still up on Amazon. Also, I may have some copies of this to give away to people, and I am going to be doing a video about that next week, because I've got a lot of secondhand books, and I've got some new books and just giveaway items that I'd love to give to people, but I'm not very good at arranging contests and things for this kind of stuff. So I do have a few things that I would like to give away before Christmas, maybe in a little Christmas bonanza. But yes, that'll be next week's video. Next, Falling Over by James Everington. So this is a short story collection, and I go way back with James as well, back to the Sinister Horror Company days. He had books out by them and stuff. And yeah, I really like James. I really like his writing. I've reviewed some of his work before. So yeah, and I'm really into short stories at the moment. I don't know if you noticed, I have a lot of these are short story collections, and a lot of the stuff on my personal TBR is short story collections as well. All right, so now I've got 2 books by Jan Edwards, who I mentioned earlier, who kind of got me into like the noir sort of genre. So I've got Deadly Plot and Of Sands and Tides. I think that this is her newest one, but I'm really, really excited to get into both of these. I've got no idea what they're about. I'm going in blind, but yeah, you can even tell like kind of the tone and stuff from the covers, right? So yes, I really, really love Jan also. I look forward to seeing her and having a lovely cuddle from her every time. Next, I have the originals Retribution and the originals Rage by David Watkins. I have to double check which one comes first, but I've already read the originals Return, which is the first one in this series. They're werewolf books, and I really, really enjoyed it. David does really great character work, so he's good at really firmly establishing like a real world that we all know, you know, like family setups, housing, towns, everything, and then he'll just throw something nuts in there which like really disturbs like the status quo and your sort of sense of normality and like you know what's going on. So I'm really, really looking forward to these because he did a great job in the first one with yeah, small town, really relatable main character and side characters, and carnage. He's great at like homely carnage. That's right, homely carnage. That's how I'm going to describe his work from now on. This is Dan Howarth's Last Night of Freedom, which I have reviewed. I think that the review has actually gone up today as this video is going to go up as well. So I did get an ebook copy of this review ARC from Dan, and I nagged him to make sure that he brought one to FantasyCon for me because I really wanted a physical copy, because you know when I love a book that I get as an ebook from an author, I always like to also get a paperback as well, a physical copy. So yeah, I'm excited to talk about this. I am going to do a dedicated book review on it, probably next week, I think, as well as the written one, a dedicated video review, because I really think it deserves it. It's so much fun. It's about 4 guys who go on their stag party, and they have kind of a low-key stag party. They just find a little village, they go, you know, they're gonna stay in a little inn there, and they just, you know, they feel a bit like they've got on a bit too much to be going out on a mad party kind of stag do, and there are some locals that are also on a stag do, and the thing is that there's something fucky about the locals, and it's really, really good. It kind of, yeah, it's just so much fun. I don't want to talk about it too much here, but I really, really enjoyed it. I only had one gripe with it, and that's, I mean, I'm a nitpicker, so that's pretty good for me. And the one gripe still, like at worst, I'd say this is a 4.5 out of 5. It's really good. Have The Private Life of Elder Things by Adrian Tchaikovsky, sorry Adrian if I've butchered that, Keris MacDonald and Adam Gauntlet, which I did get Adrian to sign this at the convention for me. This is a collection of short stories. I have read Adrian before in an anthology recently, and I really enjoyed his writing, and the other 2 I don't think I've read, so I'm really just looking forward to digging into this because I know that I already like Adrian's style, and yeah, looking forward to, you know, being introduced to some new authors. This is We'll Always Have Alchemy from Alchemy Press, which is an anthology, and I have a lot of collections but not a lot of anthologies left on my current TBR, so that's, you know, have to have some new ones. Thank you, Jan, for this. I did swing by Alchemy's table, and yes, Peter, who edited this, gave me this for free, which was very generous, and I'm really excited to read it because I do love Alchemy Press books. And also Peter. Hello Peter, if you see this. Next, this was a gift. This is Die Lethal by Adam Millard. So, I have talked about Adam before. One of my favourite books of all time is Milk by Adam Millard, and I'm going to have to reread it just so I can do a dedicated review on it, and I never reread because I just don't have time. Normally, like, you know, you guys know my TBR is like, but I can't stop thinking about Milk, and I haven't for years since I first read it. So Adam does really good sort of like straight up horror stories, and his characters, you know, there's always at least one that's got like a flair, like a little sense of humour there that you can relate to. He's really good at writing authentic people. He's quite honest with characters, if that makes sense. But sometimes he does just go funny, just all out funny, and Milk is like that. It's sort of like bizarro horror comedy, I would call it. And he's also written things with such titles as The Human Centipede, seasonal. Maybe I'll pick that up for Christmas, actually. So I don't know what this is about, but I can guess, and I'm really looking forward to it. Thank you, Adam. It's making me laugh even thinking about what he's done. Like, what have you done, Adam? And my last two, you might be pleased to know by now. I've got Shadow Plays by Peter Colburn, edited by Peter Colburn and Mike Chin. This was in the book, one of the book launches I went to. So this is an anthology, and I'm real excited about it because I like Mike Chin and Peter Colburn, and you know, I'm going to trust them that an anthology edited by them is probably going to be like top tier. And the once again, cover is bloody beautiful. Yeah, cover designers and these presses, like these indie presses, really excelling themselves with covers. I gotta say, enjoying them more than a lot of mainstream press work in terms of cover design at the moment. And then my last one is Heartwood, which was edited by Dan Coxon. Dan Coxon, I'm a huge fan of his writing, so I'm really excited to dig into something, you know, that he's edited. And this is a really beefy anthology, so I'm excited because I'm gonna go ahead and assume that there's like a whole bunch of authors in here that that I don't know. So, oh, there are some I recognise, but yeah, there's a few. John Mangan, wow. Poor Keene. How many books was that? Anyone keeping count of how many books that was? So anyway, that was my FantasyCon book haul. I also had, you know, bookmarks and an array of small things, but I thought, you know, I'm just going to stick to the books for this video. I'm surprised that I've managed to keep this to about half an hour, and I'm really out of breath. I still haven't fully recovered, obviously. So yeah, that was definitely probably twice as many books as I got last year, I would say. And I'm gonna go ahead and assume that when I go to World FantasyCon next year, it's going to be, you know, the same. Do you know what? Do you know what though? I regret nothing, and I'm not sorry. Let me know if you're intrigued about any, if you want dedicated book reviews of anything that I listed. I'm definitely going to start doing dedicated book reviews though, because I just always have so much to say. And I really want to start spotlighting individual works more rather than just having everything in these lists and whole forms and stuff. So yeah, let me know if there's anything that you particularly want a dedicated review of that you've read, whether I read it or not. I can always add it to the list for you. So yeah, I think I'm gonna need to go and have a nice drink of water and lie down now. So yeah, hope you enjoyed somewhat of an unhinged, uncontrolled haul, but you know, I regret nothing, bleep.